Chairman, members of the committee,
We have 2126.
HB 2126 provides paid family medical leave for families in Virginia. I think when a child is being born, when your kid is being born, when your parents are dying, frankly, your job is probably not your first priority. And I don't think that's an insult to anyone who works for a living. When our children are born, when our parents are dying, these are some of the most important moments in our lives. The Family Medical Leave Act, the Federal Family Medical Leave Act of 1993, allows workers to take up to 60 days of unpaid leave off to care for their families in these cases. Now, that's fine for those of us that can afford it. For those of us that can't afford it, they often have to choose between taking care of a dying parent, taking care of a newborn, a woman who has given birth, even by C-section, if she needs the money for her job, has to go to work the next day. Now, what's interesting is every nation on the planet, save the United States of America and Papua New Guinea, has accepted the fact that we shouldn't force women who've just given birth to go back to work the next day. And they provide some form, big or small, of paid family medical leave. In the United States, some 20% of Americans do have it under state law. In states like California, New York, New Jersey, and Rhode Island, it does not exist in Virginia. Some employers in Virginia provide it, but 60% do not. And that means that people often have to go back to work the day after. There is a wonderful program put forward actually at the federal level by Senator Kirsten Gillibrand of New York that provides a way to have paid family medical leave for her it's in the United States, but I've modified it for Virginia, for all Virginia workers at a relatively modest cost and at zero cost to the Virginia taxpayer. This bill does not require a penny out of the general fund. It works similarly to the way that Social Security and Medicare work today. It is an employer-employee match, and it's really a very modest sum of money. It is only 0.2% of an employee's wages, matched by 0.2% of the employer. So let's put the numbers there. If you make $50,000 a year, it is $100 off your paycheck to have this benefit. If you're a delegate and you make $17,000 a year, that's $34 a year, or less than $3 a month. Frankly, I know some Starbucks coffees that cost more than that. In return, let's talk about what benefits this provides. So we can look at the states that have had it, and we know that, for example, 3/4 of children, and this is in the United States, but 3/4 of children have both their parents or a single parent all working. We know that a women's income loss during pregnancy is 7%, that women who take paid leave are more likely to be employed the following year, report increased wages than those that don't. Parents who took leave and did not get paid medical leave had higher public assistance. So it actually costs the state money to take care of people on public assistance when they can't afford to have paid medical leave. 4/5 of respondents who have paid leave reported they were better able to take care of a new baby. New mothers were more likely to be able to do breastfeeding, receive regular checkups, and give their newborns critical immunizations. They were more likely to take the minimum doctor recommended 6 to 8 weeks recovered from birth.
That was my only question.
Yes.
So, for the benefits, I see there's a delayed effective date. Is that for the benefits and the beginning of the collection of the 0.2%?
Everything begins collecting in July of 2017, and the benefits started in January of 2018. So that's a lot of money to go into the fund before people want to take money out of the fund.
And there's I see there's a fiscal impact of.
There is zero fiscal impact on the bill.
I see it.
There's a revised fiscal impact statement that you should have electronically. The reason why there's no fiscal impact, by the way, is because the administrative costs.
I see 21 million for 18, 19. I'm reading the impact statement.
There's a revised impact statement. I'm happy to give you a copy of it. Revised 124.17 that says there's no fiscal impact. You should have it electronically.
he talking about the impact on the state budget? Or
There's no impact on the state budget.
Private employers.
Well, there is an impact on private employers, which we'll get to, but there is no impact on the state budget. The reason there's no impact on the state budget is the administrative costs of the program are fully paid for in the fund. It's about $14 million. The fund brings in, and you can see this in the fiscal impact statement, it brings in hundreds of millions of dollars and more than enough to cover the benefits and the administrative costs. So there's no impact to the taxpayers. There is an impact to the employer, as I said, 0.2% of the wages. And what's interesting, and I know there are a number of people who think employers, they reflexively oppose this, they don't want to do anything. Here's something that they found out actually by the states that have done it. 90% of businesses in California where this has been done since 2004 said it improved productivity. 99% said it increased morale. 87% said there were zero cost increases, and many reported cost savings. The reason for cost savings is people don't quit. And because they don't quit, they don't have to train new workers. And the thing about this bill, and yes, I did bring it up last year, is that at the end of the day, working class people are struggling, and we know that. And in fact, some would say the 2016 election was largely based on struggling working class people. And conservatives and liberals often have long discussions about
I think we
abortion.
saw you wrote that in the blog about the working class people.
No, we were mentally deficient.
I said that people who want to kill Hillary Clinton are mentally deficient. I did say
No, I think you
that.
said Trump supporters.
No, what I said was, and if you want to go there, what I said was that encouraging people to want to kill Hillary
Well, that's
Clinton.
fair. I appreciate your clarification.
That's a good deal, but
But I do
I
think
said.
it said something about everybody south of Fairfax and Arlington and Alexandria.
I certainly never said
Misogynist and racist.
I certainly never said
I
that.
believe, I'll look it up in Blue Virginia for you.
I certainly never said that. In any case, these things work. And basically, small businesses, interestingly, support it more than big businesses. They've worked everywhere they've had them. I'm just going to give you a few more statistics so you should know. 81% of Americans support paid family medical leave, including 2/3 are Republicans. And a recent survey of business executives conducted by Frank Luntz, he's not a Democratic pollster, he's a Republican pollster, showed overwhelming support for paid parental leave. And the thing I was going to say is this: there are lots of disagreements conservatives and liberals have over abortion. But I think we can all agree, studies show up that the main reason why people have abortions is because they feel they can't afford to have a child. And to force parents to go back into the workforce, which again, no industrialized nation does except the United States, to go back in, it actually encourages women to have abortions. So I would say, like Social Security, like Medicare, this is a bill that its time is coming. And at the end of the day, it's a very, very small cost, no cost to the taxpayer, and something that I think would benefit a large number of people.
Thanks. Do you have, Mr. Chairman, speak in favor?
I do.
Briefly, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Julie Emery with the Virginia Civic Engagement Table, and we actually had some working folks here to testify who unfortunately had to get back to their families. But we do support this bill. We think that families need this support, and especially new mothers who don't have any other kind of leave when they have a baby will need this support. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Daniel Williams with the VSED Economic Justice Work Group, and we agree with the sentiments just made and support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate it. Anybody else speak in favor, sir? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition?
Mr. Chairman, Ryan Dunn with the Virginia Chamber of Commerce. We also oppose the bill. We do have companies that offer this type of leave. We know it is an important thing, but currently a lot of our employers actually use it for their benefit, knowing how to be competitive in the marketplace. We have real concerns about the cost of the bill. We saw that they would be removing up to $744 million would be the cost of the employers and employees to the Commonwealth. That's quite large and concern. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, Nicole Rowley, the National Federation of Independent Business
On behalf of our members, we've consistently opposed this legislation last year and other forms. For a lot of our small business owners, paid leave can sometimes be onerous. Our members try to do the best that they can and work with their employees, but we do have concerns the fact that this would be both a tax on both the employer and the employee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Jody Roth with Virginia Retail Federation, and we also oppose this.
Chairman Brendan Shaw, Pennsylvania Chamber of Commerce, we oppose as well. Thank you. Any questions for the panel? No.
Before you get much, I want to say one last thing about the bill.
One last word, yes, sir.
It does not provide the full cost of employment. It is 60 days at 2/3 wages, so there's every incentive for people to get back to work if they are being paid less than they are. And I don't think 0.2% is a huge cost. Again, someone makes $50,000 a year, it's $100. Instead of increasing their employees' wages by 2% to $51,000, they could increase it to $50,900 and pay for all the benefits here. It's a tiny cost for a great benefit to allow new mothers, new fathers to take care of their newborns and not have abortion.
Thank you. Now, getting back to your other point, I think that what Farrell brought up, I mean, what we saw you wrote is Alexander, Arlington, Fairfax, never be places where all homophobia, racism, sexism, religious prejudice will be tolerated. Does that mean where all these other people are, do you think they tolerate religious prejudice down there?
I'm speaking for my own communities. I know that they're not tolerating my own communities.
What you wrote, yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is that
We were just asking.
no, I know that my communities, that kind of stuff is almost never tolerated. There's different places in Virginia where they are, and
It
some
sounded like you said it was tolerated where the chairman and everyone else is from.
I certainly
Mr.
not say
Miller.
that.
Mr. Chairman, I have a motion to pass the bill by indefinitely.
We have a motion to PBI, is there a second? We have a motion to PBI, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of PBI and House Bill 2126, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? No. One no. Thank you very much, sir.